The dream starts with me being surrounded by rows and rows of clothes. There was a big event coming up, so I was visiting someone who had many different items of fashion. The clothes came from the history of our culture through the various different ages. Anyway, the event itself was a celebration of the great move to Tantal. It was a very big event because it had been 500 years since we had moved. Everyone had to dress as they did when we made the big move. So those born here could not remember that time, obviously. So they just had to research it. And everyone, both old and young, seemed to enjoy the preparation and the dressing up. The way we dressed in those days was not as simple and chic as it came to be. The materials used were heavier and more coarse. It was very similar for men and women at that time, with the differences mainly being in jewellery. Two parts of the outfit: a long skirt that fitted under the breast for women and at the waist for men, and a cape over the top for both. So I'm at this place for historic fashion, and I'm walking through lines and lines of clothes, getting ready for the celebration. And there were people there helping out who'd been alive at that time. Mainly they were there for assisting the younger ones. So one person told me to try on a skirt, any skirt that took my eye. So I chose one that was more colourful than most, and I put it on, and then I felt something in the back rip. Oops, I felt so embarrassed and apologised. By the way, I was trying it on without a changing room. It seemed perfectly normal in my dream. All the others were doing the same thing. Anyway, I said I would get it repaired, so she handed me the item. So I went to the house of the people who repair things, or recyclers. It was a short walking distance. It seemed like a perfectly normal thing to do. The title of these people was more like the ones who make new, but the closest description for nowadays is recyclers. As for the clothing, both the women were skilled in repairs, and the skirt was repaired in less than 5 minutes. So, back to the celebration, or the reason I was there in the first place. So, this celebration that was coming up was the 500th year of the move to Tantal, and everyone had to dress like at the beginning when we first moved. Some even did their makeup to resemble an old person. Of course, we didn't have old people now. So the reminiscing also was a very big part during the celebration. So essentially, all the people who were there when it all started were a very big part of the celebration. The food was cooked in the traditional way, not using the new equipment or style. Lovely smells wafted through the centre of town. There were some sort of weird parts to the celebration as well, like some strange athletics involving people and bulls, and another bit where people took turns pouring melted gold over a statue of Uran. And of course, people went and visited the old town where we had lived. It had been kept like a museum. It looked just the same as it had done 500 years ago. And of course there were more normal things like singing and dancing that took place. There were about 40,000 of us at the celebration. I remember enjoying the event with my family and friends, and then I returned home. Another lovely dream complete.